you've got to go for it. Like birds, right? When they're in their nest, if they don't get kicked out, they're probably not going to fly. The only way to do it is to take that chance and go for it. Like you say, you're not going to get it if you don't ask. If you have a passion and you love it, figure out how to do it. Maybe it's not your main thing right now, but take that side hustle and work on it until it becomes your full-time hustle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Talk2Rami. This is Rami, your host. As always, if you like my episode, please go and share it and like it. Today, I'm so happy because I'm sitting with Danny. Danny, the chef. Danny Kievit is here. We sat down a long time ago, but a lot of stuff has been changed with him in the good ways. And now he's here to share it with us and tell us his story. Danny, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
Happy you came back. Man.
I'm happy to be here. It's been It's been a year, a little over
year
a
and a half, something like that. But it's a lot of stuff changed, man. You growing and you getting up there. People, they're asking for you. You cook with celebrities, Dana White, Elon Musk, name it. All these people. What's going on? What had changed?
I just do what I love. You know what I mean? And I have been blessed to be put in front of the right people. I don't know what it is. I just know that I love to cook and I'm having a great time.
You have a great way to connect with people through food because you're not just only a chef. I know you for so long now. You are a connector and you connect through food with people. How did you find out that food can be a connection point for you?
Well, food is my medium. You know what I mean? It's like they call it culinary arts, you know what I mean? But it's my way to connect to people. I believe that food creates a timeless connection. I've probably said that before many times. It does. You eat food, it can remind you of something, a memory from your childhood. Or it could create a memory that you could remember, in many years. I mean, it's a way to communicate.
What do you remember from your childhood, the food that you ate?
Well, my grandmother's from the Philippines, right? So I remember having her create food that wasn't normal food compared to what all my friends were eating. You know what I mean? My grandfather, I remember him making bananas Foster, the flame coming up and, Mr. Rogers, I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, he made eggs in the microwave. And I took that and made that for my mom. And the reception that I got from it was so strong. I realized that gave me a sense of a power. A way to connect with somebody on a level that was different than just by talking. It's love. And that's what it is. I mean, I love what I do, and I'm able to share that with people, and I guess they like it because they call me back.
One thing about being a personal chef, you're dealing with different characteristic of the people, like your clients, that some they like this, some they like something else, or they don't like this. How you deal with that? What is the process? Because, for example, I don't eat sushi, but a lot of people like sushi. And have you ever had, situation that you had to tell them that you might not like it, but let me to cook it for you and then see what's going to happen? You be the judge.
Absolutely. My stepmother, right? She does not eat oysters. Right, and
I can't. Is that
not eat oysters? But I challenged her to try them. And one thing about being an expert in your field, like having the passion and like really understanding it, is people will trust you. You know what I mean? Once you establish that trust and they trust you, it's like they kind of put themselves in your hands. Now, there's some people it's going to be an absolute no. My daughter, she does not like seafood. Right? The smell of it, if it's close to, like there's shrimp cooked close to a steak, she won't want to eat the steak. You know what I mean? But for her 16th birthday, I took her to Sushi Bar ATX. Right? And all they serve there pretty much is fish. You know what I mean? She ate the entire meal. It was 19
courses. What changed?
I think it's the level of trust. She's been working with me. She's 12. She's now 17. So she's been cooking with me in a professional setting since she was a child. she was raised with me as a chef. I was chef of a restaurant called Trulux, right?
Yep.
So she would go in for dinner. Instead of going to like McDonald's, we were going to the fancy steakhouse for dinner. She's been raised around food. She knows that she doesn't like seafood, but she loves the process of cooking. So I think that the process of cooking has put a different level of desire, for her to push past that. You know what I mean? So I think if people trust, they're going to try. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the trust fall, you trust you're going to fall backwards, you're going to get caught kind of deal. But, I love the opportunity to convert people who say they don't like something and make it. And they're like, oh, that's good.
Have you ever had any situation like they said, oh, we didn't like this, but I love it now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
My girlfriend, right? She doesn't eat oysters, another one, right? We've gone out, but her experience with oysters prior to somebody who knows oysters may have been different, but I've taken her to eat oysters and we had good oysters and now she loves oysters, so, and I'm using oyster as an example because it's, but there's so many different things, like, I think a lot of people, your brain is so strong, so powerful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get this idea that something is not good, then that's going to be what's there. It's not good. You know what I mean? But if you find something or, you find trust in something and you're able to try a new experience, try it again, maybe it wipes out that old memory and it replaces it with a good memory, And I think that for me is great. I want to be impactful. They say that purpose is found at the intersection of multiple passions.
Exactly.
You say, I like to connect.
Yes.
I love to cook. I love to talk. I love to create. I love to create relationships. I think relationships are the fabric of life. So it is a great medium. So if we can sit here across the table from each other and talk and just have food and talk about the food and try different things, I think that's a connection. You know what I mean? And that through that connection you build trust, and then through that trust you can create new opportunities.
You have cooked for ordinary people, regular, normal people, and you have cooked for celebrities like Dana White and Elon. And what are the difference? Are they really,
everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time? You know what I mean?
Really,
everybody bleeds red.
They say celebrity chef. Now you're a celebrity chef.
I mean, to me, I don't.
Are they different?
I hear that, right? I hear celebrity chef, or maybe I say it. You know what I mean? But I don't feel any different than I did when I was a line cook. You know what I mean? The only difference is I've done it for so long. It's like breathing. You know what I mean?
You don't get nervous?
No, not anymore. I mean, okay, so I've been a private chef now for 5 years. I've gone into hundreds of homes. I've cooked for hundreds of people. When I was a chef at a restaurant, I'd go out into the dining room and I'd talk to people. And at first I got nervous, right? One of the biggest challenges I had, believe it or not, was talking in front of people.
Really?
Right? Oh my God, I used to be so nervous. Like, funny story, I went to college. I got my degree in entrepreneurship and management at the University of North Texas. And I waited until my senior year. So I graduated in December. Right, I waited till the summer before that semester to take my intro to public speaking course. Freshman level class called COM 1010. I took it in May, which is the shortest semester. It's called a Maymester. It's 3 weeks. I took that class almost the last semester that I could before I graduated because I just hated getting up in front of talking in front of people. Cool story. So we had to do three speeches. The first one was impromptu. Terrible, horrible. I had to pull what do you call those things? A fortune, like a little fortune slip out, and it said some words on it. I had to do a speech on it. I don't remember what it was. I was so nervous. I was sweating. I was probably white. It was terrible. The second one was an informative speech, and I did it on something that was going on, some current event that was going on at that time. I don't really remember. But the final one was the persuasive with the call to action, and I remember this. I did whether or not chips and salsa should be the Texas state snack. Right? So I related it to food, right? So I made some salsas, I made some chips, I took it in there and I spoke, right? And I told people, I was like, I call upon you to talk to your senator and let them know that chips and salsa should be the Texas state snack. We got a state bird, we got a state song, we got a state dish, we got all sorts of these state things. We don't have a state snack, right? 6 months later, a kindergarten class down the road from the college petition for chips and salsa to be the state snack, and it becomes a state snack.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
I don't know. Coincidence? I think not, but But anyways, that was something that I was scared about was, you asked me if I got nervous. I was speaking on stuff that I didn't fully understand. I found out that's why I was nervous. But whenever I talk about what I love, I talk about food, I talk about, my passion for food, I talk about those things, it's easy, so I can connect like that. So that's what I focused on, right? I focused on that. I've really dialed into improving myself personally, right? We've talked about that. And at doing what I love, which is connecting with people and cooking.
Dana easy to work with?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Really? Because he's very private. He's a very private guy. You don't see him on interviews that much, and he's very private, and everybody thinking that, but I read that he's a nice guy.
He's an amazing guy. He's a very family-oriented guy. I was there with his entire family. They were a phenomenal group of people. Everybody's very interactive with one another. It's very cool to see that. I love being part of that type of situation where I'm cooking for a family and I get to see the interaction. I get to kind of be part of that. That's the big difference between cooking in a restaurant and doing private. Whenever you're doing private, you're part of the makeup of the family, kind of. I did breakfast, lunch, and dinner for him. And it was just it was so peaceful and so great.
And usually, you come up with a breakfast and lunch, or they tell you, okay, this is what we like, and you stay in the perimeters of the ingredients, or you just come up with it, okay, I want to make this for breakfast, I hope they like it. Or you just kind of get some requirements. You gather requirements, how that works. What is your system?
Ask them, I'll be like, what are your dining requirements? Do you have any allergies? Do you have any, what is your favorite food? I'll kind of get a little bit of information, a little intel. About them. Maybe I talk to their private chef, maybe I talk to their executive assistant, and I find out about who I'm cooking for. And then from that, yes, I craft menus. Sometimes it'll be kind of a moving target. Like if I'm cooking for somebody for 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 7 days, that's 21 meals. I'm probably not going to plan out line by line every single of those 21 meals. Maybe I'll do a couple. Maybe I'll create a sort of basis of what I'm going to do. And then, you come to me, say I'm cooking for you. You come to me and you're like, hey, tomorrow I feel like this. So I make that. It's not necessarily as rigid. Now, if I'm doing one event, right, then I'll create a menu and I'll present that and I'll be like, and then they'll be like, well, maybe we change this. But, I've tried to establish myself in a way to where people can see, I have a book, I've got my website, I've got my Instagram page, I've got my Facebook, I've got the different things so you can kind of understand kind of my style. And if you look at that, a lot of people are going to trust me. They're like, I'm keto, like Dana is keto, so I have to stay within the parameters of that. I got to do this really fun thing with him. It's called Fuck It Friday.
What is that?
And so it's kind of like where he takes a fun recipe, right, and makes it and tastes it and talks about it and yes or no kind of deal, So, he breaks keto every once in a while, just trying that. But the man is so disciplined, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
Extremely disciplined,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's amazing to see people like that. I try and be disciplined, but it's hard. You know what I mean? Especially with what I do, because I cook and taste everything. I'm on a seafood diet. I seafood and I eat it. Yeah, but yes. So with my clients, I work within their desires, but I have been allowed to exercise my creativity.
They led you to go a little bit into your creative ideas.
And I think that's part of the fun part about a private chef. You know what I mean? It's not like you're ordering from a menu. It's like, okay, I'm going to hire Chef Danny and I'm going to let him do his thing. I think it was Tim Cook. He said, we don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people and let them tell us what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you allow that, then you're going to get the best of what they have to offer.
How was Elon?
It was great. It was very interesting cooking for a group of people like that. I would say that if they had a party that I was invited to, it'd probably be the most epic party I ever went to in my entire life.
Why?
But it was just a normal day for them. You know what I mean? Because it was a birthday party, right? and it was a celebration. It was a 40th birthday party for one of them. It was a celebration. They were in this amazing home. And we did this crazy meal for them. It was fantastic. It was a long table. It was all lit up with candles and like little lights outside and flowers. And I mean, there was a miniature pony there. There was a burlesque show. There was a cake with the top was screen printed. I mean, it was beautiful, and I was fortunate to be able to be part of that. The energy in that type of group is completely different than like a family meal on Friday night. You know what I mean? It was a party, and it was
fun.
It was fun, right? And I really like that because when there's a party like that and there's fun like that, it charges us up. You know what I mean? So we kind of like work off of that energy, and it just creates this like really harmonious time.
Because one of the things that you do, and you do it great, you basically not only cooking as a private chef, you guys who set up the environment that matches the food or, what you're going to serve, like a sushi or like a steak. Like you guys, you do that. How you do that? Like, you go to the house and say, oh, I'm going to turn this house into the restaurant, or at least create that atmosphere.
I mean, I love the idea of transformation. You eat with your eyes first. And that goes with everything.
Because you have to have the setting.
I mean, I walk into this studio here, and I see the studio, and it says, we're going to do something cool. Just by looking at it, before we even sit down. So I think that kind of like really elevates an experience, like transforming a space. You know what I mean? I go into many, like I said, many different homes, right? And a lot of these homes that I go into are high-end homes, right? A lot of them are Airbnbs. Some of them are lived in. Some of them are not lived in, right? So over the time, I've accumulated a fair amount of things, right? And experience also transforming. I used to be a banquet chef.
That's setting up.
Right. So, learning how to take like an empty room and put different things in there to create an environment is important, So yes, you mentioned sushi, right? So I do an omakase. Right, and omakase is basically like a chef's tasting menu for sushi, right? So I do 18 courses.
Wow!
Right, but and I always start off with a sake bomb, right? Because I think that's fun. Sake bomb, they can hit the table, sake, and the chopstick, boop, and everybody takes a shot, and I'll do it with them, So then I kind of that's the icebreaker.
That's
you know
fun.
What I mean? But I'll set it up, and I'll try and put on like some Japanese jazz, or I'll put on some sort of like I'll read the group, right? And I'll try and play music. Usually there's like a Sonos or there's some sort of like way, right? So I'll put music on. I'll put candles up. I have a couple of live edge boards. I'll use my boards. I'll create a whole environment, and then I'll set up my setup, right? So when you come in for dinner, usually people they'll get dressed and they'll come out, because I'm there for a while, right? They'll get dressed up because I try and make it an experience. If they have a nice island, I'll have them sit at the bar. So I create a sushi bar.
The matching the environment is so important because you might eat like a steak at this table or a table that I think that would be a great, I mean,
experience. Sometimes I'll do
that's how fancy restaurants are.
Exactly. I try and incorporate all of the senses. You got smell, right?
Yes.
Usually what I do when I walk into a house is I start cooking bacon, or butter. Like it takes over the room and you walk in and you're like instantly.
You're focaccia with the olive oil or, in an Italian restaurant, you walk in.
You smell it.
Yeah, you smell it. I used to have an Italian restaurant. Before lunch or dinner, my chef was going with a hot pan and put focaccia and olive oil and will burn it, and this is smell of garlic focaccia. Everybody, oh my God, I just got hungry.
So I've worked at some restaurants, and sometimes the air pressure is not equalized, right? So if you've got like a vent hood that's pulling air, and it's called the return air. It's not blowing this air curtain down to prevent that air from sucking. It'll pull air from all throughout the restaurant up to the vent. Right. So then I'm sure you've walked into a place where you can smell like a little foul smell. You know what I mean? That's because that's what's going on. So I've worked at a place where maybe that was messed up. And what I would do is I would get a pan super, super hot and I put some oil in it, and then I put rosemary and thyme and garlic, and I'd walk through the restaurant with that smell, because it makes it smell very appealing.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what I try and do. I try and create this environment that smells good, looks good, tastes good, sounds good. The five senses, and I learned that at some of the restaurants that I worked at. The managers are constantly walking around listening to the volume, to people talking, to make sure that everything, because that's what you want. You want to make it a comfortable space. I call my business Leave It to Kievit, right? I'm Danny Kievit, and you can leave it to me to make sure that I'm going to take care of you.
Some restaurateur might listen to this right now, or some people, they want to get into the restaurant, because as my experience, a lot of chefs, they think they can be a restaurant owners, and a lot of restaurant owners, they think they can be a chef. Don't you think that's different? Like, I have seen great chefs, but they can't run operation. With all respect. And I have seen restaurant owners that they can be a chef. They have to hire a chef.
Yeah.
Because I work with some chefs that they were so talented, but they didn't want to deal with the payroll operation. They just show up, do your things, meet and greet, do their things and leave. Do you think that's the challenge?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely is a challenge. The word dispersion, like as a business owner, I have to do all of the stuff right now.
Because you're an entrepreneur too.
I am.
You're
I'm
not just chef. Yeah.
I'm not just chef. I can cook, right? I can cook, but like, as you said, there's a breakdown in communication sometimes, and that is a big challenge, and I think that like one of the restaurants that I worked at, we did this Clifton Strength Finder, right? So it identifies your top strengths. And what's cool about that is when you have a group of managers together and y'all understand each other's strengths, where y'all complement one another. And that's what really makes magic, is whenever you have a team that complements one another, right? My girlfriend and I, she is an amazing designer, right? She can put a space together. She can create a menu. She can put a book together. She can make things look amazing, right? I can make things taste amazing. I can entertain. You know what I mean? So collectively, we work very well together because she doesn't want to entertain. Well, she does, but she doesn't like care to do it like I'm doing it, for business. And she doesn't like to cook. I cook and I entertain. She sets the map for it. So like a magical combination, like one of my business partners and I in a restaurant that I worked at previously, he was front of the house. I was back of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Usually it's that. Yeah.
And so we were able to bridge that gap between front and the back, which unfortunately there's sometimes a breakdown in a restaurant between that, because you got egos, you got different sorts of like teams, I read a book, it was called Team of Teams, and it's in the military. They have teams of teams that have to coordinate together to work together to create one big team. And that's kind of what it is in a restaurant. You got to have teams that are working together.
The front of the house, usually I compare it with the brain, and the back of the house is the heart.
The heart of the house.
The heart of the house is, everybody knows that. The heart doesn't work, pump. It's just everything. And you'll be dead. Yeah. You'll be dead. But it's very difficult that you be a chef and running the restaurant.
It's hard.
It's
hard.
Really hard.
Total ops is hard. And doing the like my business is, I take the calls, I shop the food, I clean the dishes, I cook the food, I send the bill, all of the different things. If you think about like a clock on the wall, right? Like an analog clock with an arm that moves, right? Maybe it's military time, so there's 24 numbers. Every one of those numbers is something that I have to do, and I'm the arm that swings around. So it's hard to like stop on a number, because if you stop on a number, then all the other numbers suffer.
When you get to the point that, which is you are getting to that point, that you have to start thinking about delegating a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're gonna have a job, and if you want to really scale, and you are out there, people are asking about you, they want you to cook for them, but I think it's a time for you to just take it to the next level, like operation-wise.
Well, I'm getting to that point, So like in a growth cycle, right? You're gonna have a nice way to grow, right? And you can handle a lot of that growth, but then there's going to become this time where you get to the valley of death, right?
The valley of
The
death.
valley of death. And you got to have the momentum to be able to clear that valley of death, right? Or you're going to fail, right? And I think that the momentum at that point becomes processes, right? And you've got to have, like, it can't all be in your mind. You've got to, like you said, you've got to delegate. You've got to have a team. I've got a team of people that are helping me now. You know, I couldn't do this all by myself.
It's hard.
It is
very hard.
I have an accountant. I've got a CPA. I've got a salesperson. I've got a sort of they do like a lot of things for me. You know, they help organize stuff for me. You know what I mean? They run a show. They make sure that I have people set up.
All the
It's kind of
coordination management. Yeah.
kind of like operations, right?
Operation.
And then I have my girlfriend. She's amazing. Who helps me design everything. You know what I mean? So like I'm a collaborative person, right? I named the business after myself, but I want to include everybody. You know, my strengths that I found from the Clifton Strength Finder are achiever, competitor, wooer, win others over, arranger, and includer.
Are you competitive too?
Oh, I'm competitive, right? I want to be the best, right? I think I can do everything, you know, and I try to do everything. And go back to that word dispersion, right? I can easily become very dispersed. Like when I talked to you over a year ago, you know, I had plans to do all of these different things, right? But that way you're a mile wide and an inch high.
Yeah.
You know? So I've learned that focus is what I need to do.
Is the key.
Focus is the key. I think it was Will Smith. He's talking about building a wall. You know what I mean? And if you look at the wall,
Yeah, I heard that. He said something like that.
If you look at the wall and you try and push the wall up, it's gonna fall on you and crush you, right? But if you build that wall one brick at a time, then it's gonna go up. You know, so you focus in on that one brick, you get it perfect, and then move on to the next. You know, and that's always been hard for me because I want to do everything all at once.
We can't, you know, myself too, you know, I'm included too. You know, I was going to do everything, but I can't really. I need other people's help. Mm-hmm. We can't do anything alone. And we all need help. But admitting it is a different story.
Yeah.
Like you get to the point that you say, I need help. And then when you say that, most of the problems will be solved. You know, when you ask for help.
Yeah.
That's what happened, that we don't ask for help and shit hit the fans.
What did you say to me whenever we were having lunch? You were like, most of the people don't get what they need because they don't ask for it.
Yes. I said, you know, we don't get what we want because we don't ask for it.
Yeah.
And I told you, like, you have so many great clients. You never ask them for, hey, let's talk about this. How was your experience? Because you're busy on your craft. And it's okay. It's normal.
I'm shopping.
Yeah, you're shopping. You're cleaning.
Or
you're
writing
shopping.
a proposal.
But, you know, because you are in it. But, you know, you are a great chef. And, you know, people, you know, they know that, but you have to ask.
Yeah.
We all like that.
I mean, that's one of the big challenges for me too. You know what I mean? I'll do this great experience for somebody. You know what I mean?
You are in it.
I'm in it. And then like, you know, what is it? The dopamine and all that stuff.
It's running,
going,
yeah.
right? And then at the end, I'm like,
oh, yeah.
And then it's over. And I don't like, follow up. I don't, you know, that's the challenge for me. You know what I mean? Asking for the business. Whenever I tried to do sales for a little while, you know, and I do sales now, right? But when I was trying to do like sales for something I didn't care about, you know, the biggest challenge to close the deal was asking for the deal.
I always tell people that if it doesn't matter what you do, you are a chef, you're a freelancer, you're a web guy, you are the consultant, you are a coach. If you have a happy client, you just should ask them, do you know anybody else in your network that they can benefit from my services? And 90% people will glad to help you.
Yeah,
you
told me that the other day.
Yeah, they help you because we don't ask. You said, do you know anybody can benefit from my services?
I asked somebody that the other day too,
and
after I had lunch with you.
And they say, sure, let me call this guy, let me call that person. And things happen, but we don't ask because once we are afraid of failing, like, oh, if they say no, this is rude. But what is the worst case scenario? You're going to ask, they're going to say no, and you're going to be in the same place you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Nothing going to change. Really, nothing going to change. But what are the challenges of being a private chef? We talk about all the glories, everything fun. What are the challenges?
Man,
really?
it's busy. Like I'm busy. I'm booked a lot. I'm booked almost every week. You know what I mean? At least once. So with that, I've got so many. It's not just like I just show up at the house and cook. You know what I mean? I have to plan it. I have to understand what I'm doing. I have to shop for it. I have to allocate time to be able to pack up and get ready and then go over there in time. I've got to kind of understand where I'm going because maybe I get there. I've done a dinner before. I showed up at a dinner to do a pig roast. I was going to roast a whole hog. We do it in a cajachina, which is a box that emulates kind of like cooking underground. So we get to the house. It's a beautiful house. Beautiful house, right? Like, I don't know how many millions of dollars it was. It was beautiful. The propane tank was empty.
Oh, my God.
So there's no gas. So the stove doesn't work. The oven doesn't work. None of the stuff works. You know what I mean? And these people pay a premium price for us to come over there and cook for them, right? So we got to figure it out. You know what I mean? So that is a challenge. Being able to adapt, being able to overcome and to achieve. And that's part of my success from being a chef. I was able to, we called it Plan B. But I was able to adapt. I was able to shift gears.
And that's important.
You know what I mean? To be quick on your feet. That's hard.
Isn't that all these cooking shows all about? Like, on TV?
Chopped.
Yeah, Chopped. Or
yeah, I mean, totally. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people who were challenged by that, who were like, they see one vision, and if anything changes in that one vision, then it throws them off. You know what I mean? I've been able to be fortunate enough to kind of like, I don't know if I have ADD or not.
Because
like, squirrel. You know what I mean? But
you are like that.
But it's easy for me to like, because I'm constantly thinking.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Shiny object syndrome.
But you were in the Netflix, the Snack versus Chef.
Yeah.
How I saw part of it. How was your experience?
Because it was
you
crazy.
I look at you. You were so happy, like you were smiling and having fun and chatting with everybody. How was your experience going through that kind of like a fast-paced TV show?
Oh, it was crazy, man. So I had to go through a whole process to get on there. Right. So there was
what was the process?
There was something that came across my email that like a casting person said, "Are you interested in doing this?" So I responded to it, and then we went to the next one, and then I had to do a Skype interview. I had to do a little demonstration of a cooking video. I had to do a TikTok video for cooking. Then I had to do a psychiatric evaluation.
What?
Yeah, they had to make sure that I wasn't gonna like, go crazy or whatever. They said I was sane.
That's good.
Yeah. So, it's been checked. So I went through that whole process, and then they selected me. So then they were like, okay, here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. So they told me about it. They gave me the parameters, right? And I had like 4 days to prepare, right? And so this was a show where it's about snacks, right? Like iconic snacks. Right. And so there's a vending machine, and the vending machine drops a snack, and you have to recreate that snack. And then based on what that snack is, then you do an original item that's based on the idea of that snack. OK, so I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So I go to shoot. And so I fly to where did I fly to? Stamford, Connecticut. Right. First time I've ever been up there. I take I got a Milwaukee pack out, which is like a box on wheels. So I take like, I don't know, a couple 100 pounds of stuff with me. I take some equipment. I take some food stuff, and I go to this hotel, right? I check in with the producer and do everything. And then I go to this hotel, and I'm quarantined to this hotel for, I believe it was 10 days. Right. So it was during COVID. We had to get COVID tests multiple times, but 23 hours a day we were in our room.
What did you do?
And then for 1 hour a day, we got a proctored walk. Right. And in this walk, I met a group of people. We called ourselves the Mulberry Bunch because we would walk to this mulberry bush and pick mulberries. And that would be our highlight of our day. You know what I mean? And then we'd go back to our room, and we'd be in the room again for 23 hours a day. Right. And so while in this room, we were like researching and preparing for what we were going to create, because there was 8 iconic snacks that we were going to be challenged with.
But you knew
they gave us hints.
Okay.
Right. And then they gave us like a theme that we had to come up with an original idea for. So in this hotel room, I bought a convection oven. I had a immersion circulator. I had a dehydrator. I had all these different things, and we were playing around with all this different stuff. And you don't know whenever you get on the show, you don't know what's going to happen, right? They have a plan. So it was an interesting experience. I met a lot of amazing people. I've never been like around so many moving parts at one time. There's this studio. You've never been in this studio before, so we go into this studio, and the first time we get to see it, and then, okay, here's what's going to happen. And then you wait and you find out. And like when I say you wait to be called upon, right? You're in the shoot and stuff like that, but then they call upon you and then you have to do your action. And it was an exciting time. I've never done anything like that. It wasn't scripted or anything like that, so it was kind of like.
But you had time. You had to go based on the timing, right?
Well, so the first 10 days we were, practicing and hanging out by ourselves, isolated pretty much. And then the next days we were shooting. And the way they shot was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting. It was, very stimulating, very bright lights, very all that stuff. They're moving you around. They're talking to you. You've got the director, you've got all the people. They've got earpieces, and they're like, somebody's telling them, their vision. So then they create that. Where we shot it was a really cool place. We did it in the studio where they did, Forged in Fire.
Oh.
So that was cool, kind of being around that. You get to see people writing on the walls and stuff like that. Was neat. But it was an amazing experience. I was one of 12 people in the United States chosen. I was Texas.
The price was $50,000.
Yeah, the winner got $50,000.
Who won?
Lauren was her name, and she started a snack company. From
After that,
yeah, after this, with her snack that she made. It was like a dried noodle, like snack, like a dried ramen snack. It was really cool. It's called Snoods. She has a company now that has launched.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it was really cool. Like everybody that was in that has gone off to do some really fun stuff. You know what I mean? I was in the early stages of Leave It to Kievit when that happened. When I got back, not because of the show, because the show didn't come out for another year and a half later, I just took off and got busy.
That show helped you or no?
Yeah.
After,
sure. Yeah.
After
it's a good talking point. It's fun to talk about. I have a group of clients that I cook for. I've cooked for them like 5 or 6 times, right? They live up in the Northeast. There was 30 of them this time that I was cooking for them. I've traveled to like Colorado to cook for them and cook for them quite a bit, right? But I'm like turned around in the kitchen, and in this show, I wore orange frame glasses.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right, and I don't need glasses. I wore them just to like have something on my face. But I turn around and all of them have these different color glasses on, and like they were like, I turned around, they surprised me with these glasses. It was fun. It was a fun thing. It was a cool show for my kids, because it was on Netflix. It made it to like the top 10 shows in Netflix or whatever. It made it to number 3.
Wow.
Top 10 or and it stayed there for weeks. And then for kids, number 1. It made it to number 1 for kids. So like I cook for a lot of these people with kids, and they're like they recognize me.
When you want to do your cooking show, not the show, like cooking like channel.
Oh, I'd love to, man.
Channel.
I've always wanted.
Because I think it would work. People would love it.
When I was in college, right? I told you I went to college. When I was in college, I always wanted to do, because I like to cook. I've been cooking since I was young, right? And my buddy and we talked about doing like on PBS, on like local TV, a cooking show, and we're going to call it Cooking for One. Because I was a college bachelor, and that was the idea, So I've always like wanted to do like. So I grew up watching like. Food Network back in the day, Boy Meets Grill, all that stuff. One of these days, I'm going to go and I'm going to get on to beat Bobby Flay. I'm going to challenge Bobby Flay. I can't wait to do that.
He's good.
He is. He's very good. And I've watched Bobby Flay my whole life. And then I also would like to do Chopped. Those two things would be fun. I really enjoyed the Top Chef. It's changed a lot, but back in the original seasons, I was like, I'd love to do that, but it was such a commitment. You got to go away for weeks to be able to do that show.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, doing what I did, I think I was gone for 24 days, which was a commitment. And I wouldn't have been able to do it had I, been at a restaurant. Maybe I would have, but most likely it would have been more challenging for me to go off and do that. So going to do it as a freelancer was a really cool thing.
Have you ever thought to open the restaurant or no?
When I was in culinary school prior to college, I did goals, right? I did 1, 5, and 10-year goals, right? And one of the goals was to open a restaurant, and the name was going to be Kievit. Quite the classy joint. That's what I was going to. Yeah. That's what I was going to. Right. But nice. I've created Leave It to Kievit, and I love the idea of being able to go into somebody's space and transform it into a place where I can share my passion with them. I think owning a restaurant, if you're not careful, the restaurant will own you.
Oh, it's very, very demanding. I was in it for 14 years. It's really demanding. Yeah, you don't have life.
Yeah, and so doing this.
It's a commitment.
Being as a private chef, yes, I'm committed, and it's a lot for me. But it also allows me to have a life that I wouldn't be able to have as a restaurant.
You have definitely much, much more freedom as a private chef rather than being a restaurant owner or not only be a chef and running your restaurant too. It's totally
absolutely different. And now I have a team of chefs that go help me. So I'm trying to. Move to the point of where I'm more of influence rather than doing all of the dinners. Yes, I still want to cook. I still want to connect. I still want to be in that environment, right? But I'd like to more choose who I want to cook.
Special occasions,
and then be impactful to other people and give them the opportunity to find their passion. Because working at a restaurant is amazing. It's amazing. It's so much fun, so much energy, all of that stuff. But most restaurants, you're going to have a standard menu.
Yes.
So you have to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, because you can't really, you can have different, but it's really hard to execute. It.
Oh, totally. Consistency is the key to a good restaurant. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you something, and please don't repeat this to anybody. No. Okay, I ate McDonald's today.
Oh, once a while is good, isn't it?
I had breakfast at McDonald's. But the thing about McDonald's
the consistency.
Is they're consistent.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Any McDonald's you go to, you're going to get the same bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. You know what I mean? Or the same hash brown. Now, it may not be as hot as the other one. They may miss there. But generally, it's going to be very, very consistent. And that is the key to restaurants. One of the restaurants that I worked for was a restaurant called Trulux, right? And they had 11 units, right? And creating consistency amongst 11 units, even though we had a professional chef at each one, is still very difficult, So that's the challenge with restaurants. That, and also, the demand of it, and the.
You work at Moonshine too.
I worked at Moonshine as well. Yes.
Yeah, I used to go there.
And that's another very consistent restaurant.
Yes,
they got 2 locations.
Food,
The owners are fantastic guys. Chuck and Larry.
Yeah.
They have a vision that is very strong, and they brought me on in 2014, and I was able to be part of that for 5 years. I enjoyed it so much, and I learned so much, and created so many connections that helped me move forward with what I do now. And then there's Joseph Wynn, and he and I worked together prior also at Trulux. He's director of operations, and he's got a palate. And a mind that is very instrumental in the process of their business. He and Larry are some of the best bourbon pickers in the state of Texas. They created an amazing bar downstairs called Kinfolk. It's a really cool speakeasy. Chuck and Larry have a vision, like I said, that's very strong, and they know how to create something approachable and something amazing. And they've done that, and it's been very cool to be part of, and it's helped me also.
Did you know a restaurant in 2nd Street, Tapas, for Alejandro as a chef?
Mm-mm.
No.
Is it called Tapas? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love tapas. I think Spanish food is a lot of fun. I think that's the way we should eat.
It's a little bit different. Yeah.
Small bites rather than
a small bites.
You know.
What is in the future for you, Danny? Where are you going? What is the exciting things? Any things that you're hiding
Well,
It's going to be a surprise for everybody.
I mean, like I said that purpose is found at the intersection of multiple passions.
Because you are up to something, I know.
I'm always up to something. You know what I mean? I'm trying to create a legacy business, right? Like I said, my daughter works with me, right?
She wants to do what you do?
She wants to get the tattoo.
Oh.
She wants to take over this business, and I want to create, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I went to college for entrepreneurship. I love connecting with people. This is an excellent opportunity to connect with people. And through this, more things will happen. I believe that being influential and impactful is huge, right? And this is my vehicle, right? I'm trying to create a stage to where I can take it to a higher level. I'd love to be able to reach more. I believe that the biggest opportunity for success in my business is through reach.
Yep.
The more people that know about Leave It to Kievit,
exactly,
the better. I mean, if you look at like Wolfgang Puck started as a catering business. Now he's a household name.
Yep.
These types of things are what I see and what I want to do. I want to create a stage where I can impact people.
It won't go behind just the purpose of the food. It's just has something else to it.
Yeah, and then I want to also I believe that one cool thing about Leave It to Kievit, and I was kind of talking about this earlier, is the ability to get my friends as chefs in their restaurants that have to do the same thing over and over every day. It's a pursuit of passion, right? But it gives them the opportunity to find that passion again, come in and have the opportunity to create something for somebody. That's not your normal thing. It gets it's like that free time, where you can play a little bit, right? So it kind of creates like a little bit of a playground. It gives people opportunity, right? I'm not saying come and work for me and, do what I tell you to do. I'm saying here's an opportunity where you can come and you can do what you love for this.
A lot of people are listening to you right now and they might be interested to hire you. What is the process to hire you? Are you cooking for 2 people, minimum 5 people, group, or 1 individual? What is your process? That if people that are listening and watching, they say, "Oh my God, sounds good. I want to reach out to Danny."
Now I'm getting to where I'm quite in high demand. info@leaveittokievit.com. That's my email. My website is leaveittokievit.com. My Instagram is Leave It to Kievit. Everything is Leave It to Kievit, and I hope you do too. But please get in contact with me. I have a lot of information I can send you. I've got a book, right? My book has 12 of my favorite menus. I could send you the link to it. You can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And your book is on Amazon?
No, not on Amazon. Not yet.
Not yet.
But just get in contact with me. I'm very Googleable.
Yeah, you are all over there, and I'm sure if you can be there, but still you can give them a great experience and great food.
Yeah, if I can't cook it, I'll find somebody who can. I have a like I said, I've got a network of guys that I work with that are amazing, that have worked with me, that understand what we do. What we want to do is we just want to make impact. We want to make you feel like a king or like a queen. We want you to feel like the important person that you are. We want you to not have to worry about anything when it comes to this experience. We want to take care of you. We want to create memories. We want to remind you. We want you to just feel comfortable and happy and know that you don't have to worry about it. And we're going to clean the kitchen when we're done too.
Wow. Do you have any advice for any fellow chefs or entrepreneurs that they just want to start being a private chef as a career?
I mean, I think the thing about being a private chef is you've got to go for it. Birds, right? When they're in their nest, if they don't get kicked out, they're probably not going to fly. You know what I mean? So the only way to do it is to take that chance and go for it. Like you say, you're not going to get it if you don't ask. Yep. You know what I mean? And you're not going to make it if you don't try. My advice is if you have a passion and you love it, figure out how to do it. Maybe it's not your main thing right now, but take that side hustle and work on it until it becomes your full-time hustle, because the people that take that chance are the people that become great. If you don't ever try, you're never going to do.
Wow. Amen. Thank you so much, Danny. I'm so happy we got together again, sat down here and talk, but we're definitely going to cook together. I would be your assistant.
Let's do it.
I can wash dishes. I'm a great dishwasher.
Well, every year I go to the Masters, and cook at the Masters. So come to the Masters with me.
I love that. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Thank you.